Phillies, Flyers, 76ers, and another live show on Friday. Take care of yourself. Be safe. See you tomorrow.
Welcome in, everybody. I'm Jen Frederick. This is Philadelphia Live. We will be with you now until 2 p.m. today. And today is a very active day here in the city of Philadelphia and beyond. There's also a lot happening all around the world. We're going to have anything and everything that is live available for you right here. We watch it along with you guys, and we all kind of see exactly what is happening as it happens. All right, so two big sporting events, a big weekend for sports here in Philadelphia at a building I like to call the Xbox. That is a live image of Xfinity Mobile Arena. Tonight, it is hockey. So the Philadelphia Flyers will play host to the Carolina Hurricanes. In the series, they are down 2-0. Many people counting them out, saying that they are far outmatched in this series. However, it will be home ice tonight. Later today, we will have the voice of the Flyers, Jim Jackson, with us live. It will be interesting to see what he thinks about the potential matchup. Two big players, and I do mean on the ice and for our team, are out, both Noah Cates and Owen Trippett. We know that Noah will be out for the remainder of the series, this second round, disappointing to everyone. And then there was hope that Owen could get back in tonight. Those hopes were dashed earlier today when we learned he will not be available for the team. And still, this is a team that was not supposed to be here in the first place. So they're up against the wall. It will be interesting to see what they do. That's tonight, Thursday. Tomorrow night, that building will still be busy because that is when your Philadelphia 76ers return from New York. They're playing the New York Knicks. Again, a lot of people have already counted them out. It will be interesting to see what happens on the home court. And then there is a game on Saturday. That's Flyers. There's a game on Sunday. That's Sixers. By the way, the Phillies are in town as well. And in Newtown Square, they are preparing for the PGA Championship. That right there is the Aronimink Golf Club. It's in Newtown Square, Pennsylvania. It has played host to big events in the past. Tiger Woods moved his event here years ago when a course outside of DC was under construction. We've seen different tournaments happen there, but by all accounts, this will be the biggest stars at one of the biggest moments for golf. You know the names. We've seen them, all of them expected to be right there in Newtown Square. The fun officially begins there on Monday. Wednesday is the final practice round. Interestingly, the weather is not going to be a friend to the golfers who will be there. I was just speaking with Kathy Orr, who was here this morning, and she said Monday, rain. Tuesday, looks nice. Wednesday, rain. Thursday, Friday, still unsettled. She's hoping for some nice weather for the championship round weekend. The question is, will that happen also that weekend? I believe that's when Dover plays host to its NASCAR race. So just a lot happening in the city of Philadelphia and beyond. And we've been telling you about this for quite some time, that beginning in the summer of 2026, there would be so much. The PGA Championship is really the first major big event that will happen. There is a rumor I say, there is talk that a big country star will be playing at that club on Sunday for members only. The name, Luke Bryan. So it will be interesting to see what happens there, and of course we'll be on it as it does. Also, we're kind of watching and waiting to hear what will happen coming out of the White House today. The Trump administration and the group from Iran are back and forth negotiating, trying to get some kind of a peace deal. We talked briefly about this yesterday, and it seems as though it is heating up. It's one of the reasons why yesterday your money, the stock market, was looking good. Today, it is not a sustainable, positive situation. So as you see, the stocks are down, the New York Stock Exchange there. We look at this image every day. This is live. So as it happens, you will see it. It's one of the things that we want to provide to you guys so that you have it. It's just an interesting day here, right? Because we're kind of disappointed with what happened yesterday with the Sixers. We're hopeful that something amazing could happen for the Flyers. At the same time, they call this Maycember for kids who have school-age children. So many events, big recitals, proms, graduations. It's just a really busy time here in the city of Philadelphia. The other thing that people are worried about, this hantavirus. Remember, on Monday, we were talking about this. Dr. Christian told us not to be worried. Now the World Health Organization is involved. We're going to go to them. They've got a briefing going on right now.
Moreira Silva of Cabo Verde for his support in facilitating the evacuation of these 3 patients based on our request. 2 are in a stable condition in hospital, and 1 is asymptomatic and is now in Germany. The 8th case was in a man who disembarked in St. Helena. Following advice from the ship's operator, he reported himself with symptoms in Zurich, Switzerland, and was confirmed yesterday to be infected with hantavirus. The Geneva University hospitals then sequenced the virus and confirmed it as Andes. None of the remaining passengers or crew on the ship are currently symptomatic. WHO is aware of reports of other people with symptoms who may have had contact with one of the passengers. In each case, we're in close contact with the relevant authorities. Given the incubation period of the Andes virus, which can be up to 6 weeks, it's possible that more cases may be reported. While this is a serious incident, WHO assesses the public health risk as low. It also shows why the international health regulations exist and how they work. WHO is working with multiple governments and partners on the response under those regulations. Our priorities are to ensure the affected patients receive care, that the remaining passengers on the ship are kept safe and treated with dignity, and to prevent any further spread of the virus. On Monday, I asked Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez of Spain to accept the ship, which he agreed to do, and I thank Prime Minister Sanchez for his generosity, solidarity, and meeting his moral duty. The ship is now sailing for the Canary Islands, and we're confident in the capacity of Spain to manage this risk, and we're supporting them to do so. Once again, we assess the risk to the people of the Canary Islands as low. WHO has provided guidance to the ship's operator on the management of health on board the vessel. All passengers have been asked to stay in their cabins. The cabins are being disinfected, and anyone who shows symptoms will be isolated immediately. A WHO expert boarded the ship in Cabo Verde and has been joined by 2 doctors from the Netherlands and an expert from the European Center for Disease Prevention and Control, who will stay on the ship until it reaches the Canary Islands. They're conducting a medical assessment of everyone on board and gathering information to assess their risk of infection. WHO is developing step-by-step operational guidance for the safe and respectful disembarkation and onward travel of passengers and crew when they arrive. WHO has also informed 12 countries whose nationals disembarked in St. Helena. Those 12 countries are Canada, Denmark, Germany, the Netherlands, New Zealand, St. Kitts and Nevis, Singapore, Sweden, Switzerland, Turkey, the United Kingdom, and the United States of America. In addition, WHO is supporting health authorities in South Africa to follow up people who were on the flight from St. Helena to Johannesburg with the woman who later died. Meanwhile, investigations into the cause of the outbreak are continuing. Prior to boarding the ship, the first 2 cases had traveled through Argentina, Chile, and Uruguay on a birdwatching trip, which included visits to sites where the species of rat that's known to carry Andes virus was present. WHO is working with health authorities in Argentina to understand the movements of the couple, and I thank the government of Argentina for its cooperation, given its experience and expertise with Andes virus. We have also arranged for shipments of 2,500 diagnostic kits from Argentina to laboratories in 5 countries. I would also like to thank the governments of Cabo Verde, the Netherlands, South Africa, Spain, and the United Kingdom for their close partnership and support. I also thank the many partners who have provided expertise, including the NICD in South Africa, the Institut Pasteur Dakar in Senegal, and the HUG here in Switzerland. And I would also like to thank the ship's operator for its cooperation and the passengers and crew who are going through a very difficult and frightening situation. I have been in touch with the ship's captain regularly, including this morning. He told me morale has improved significantly since the ship started moving again. I thank him for everything he has done to protect those under his duty of care. WHO will continue to work with all relevant governments and partners to provide care for those who are affected, protect the safety and dignity of passengers, and prevent onward spread of the virus. Christian, back to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tedros. With this, we come now to the rounds of questions and answers. Again, please identify yourself clearly. Raise your hand if you want to ask a question. Then unmute yourself if called upon. And please also take down your hand in case your question has been asked and answered by one of the colleagues. Now, the first question goes to Spanish news agency EFE, Antonio Broto. Antonio, please go ahead.
Thank you, Christian. My first question is, in Spain, the central government and the regional authorities of the Canary Islands remain divided about the issue of the ship's stopover. So could you indicate what...
All right, looks like that feed is kind of freezing up. So we're going to hit a quick 2-minute break. There is a lot happening today. We've got events for the Eagles. We're going to talk to Jim Jackson from the Flyers. And of course, we're going to talk to our local reporters as well. 2 minutes, and we'll be right back. All right, one of the things we're looking at every day is what is happening in Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey. So today we have Jennifer Lee. She is in Mount Laurel, where the police department there is investigating just an awful accident. Hey, Jen.
Hi, Jen. Yes, this is truly awful. So police initially released information that there was a terrible crash here, 1400 block of Church Road, and they said it happened Sunday night, May 3rd, around 8:30. Police responded and they found a 15-year-old boy who had been hit by a vehicle. They say the 15-year-old was on foot. That driver was identified as a 29-year-old woman. Police say that she did remain on the scene and is cooperating with the investigation. I followed up with police today, and they say the Burlington County Prosecutor's Office is now leading this investigation. We reached out to them and are waiting to hear back on what the latest is in this investigation. But we can tell you there has just been an outpouring of grief within this community. We've also reached out to the Lenape High School and the school district here in Mount Laurel. And there was a note sent out to the school community here saying that the Lenape family suffered a tragic loss, and the student was identified as Jude Gill, and they described him as a well-respected and beloved member of the freshman class. And they said his death is being felt deeply within the school and throughout the community. And the school district said that support is available for anyone who is struggling with this loss. They say the high school personnel working closely with the Burlington County Crisis Response Team, and they're providing students, family, staff, and the community with counseling support to help with the grieving process here. And lastly, they said their thoughts are with the Gill family during this extremely difficult time. The principal, Tony Katani, says, quote, "As we navigate this loss, I know, as always, our school community will come together to support one another with compassion and care." We also learned that the student, Jude Gill, played basketball with a local community group, and they also posted on their Facebook page, Mount Laurel basketball. They say it is with heavy hearts we're sharing the passing of Jude Gill. Jude was part of the Mount Laurel basketball family from kindergarten through 8th grade. And they said over those years, he wasn't just a player, he was a teammate, friend, and constant presence in their gyms. Coaches, teammates, and families will remember his energy, love for the game, and the way he showed up for those around him. And we have reached out to GoFundMe because there's also a GoFundMe campaign that was started for the family to.
All right. So again, she was talking about a GoFundMe page. That's our Jennifer Lee. We'll have that in different platforms later today, and of course on Fox29.com, where you are probably could potentially be watching this program. The one thing I want to mention to you guys, we've just learned the average long-term U.S. mortgage rate. It's up again. So basically, a 30-year fixed mortgage rate is now 6.37%. It's the highest it's been in quite some time. Just want to let you know what is happening as we find out. The other thing that we're doing, we are on Podium Watch. We have a position outside of the White House. You see it there. We have not been given any kind of an alert on what may be happening there or what we might be hearing. We have been hearing throughout the day through our reporters that are based in Washington that the administration there, the White House, believes they are close to a peace deal with Iran. We don't know if that's anything that we might be talking about. Also, the person who typically gives us a White House press briefing, Karoline Leavitt, we have just been told that she's given birth to her second baby, a daughter named Vivi. As you know, she was supposed to take maternity leave, and then the situation at the White House Correspondents' Dinner happened. She came back just to kind of address what was happening. She came back that Monday, Tuesday, and then announced that she would be going on leave once again. So indeed, congratulations to that family. Karoline Leavitt has announced that they have welcomed a baby girl, Vivi. At the same time, all eyes are on what is happening inside of a cruise ship that is now headed to the Canary Islands. The World Health Organization is taking questions about what they're doing in terms of diagnosing, quarantining, and preventing this. So we're going to listen in again to some of the Q&A, the questions and answers there from the WHO.
Divided about the issue of the ship's stopover. So could you indicate what assurances the Spanish government has provided and what kind of assistance the WHO will provide once the ship arrives to Tenerife in this weekend? If I may, I have a second question about this Dutch stewardess that has been hospitalized today in Amsterdam. Do you have data on this case and how she may be infected? Did she travel in the same plane than one of the deceased from St. Helens to Johannesburg? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Antonio. With the first question, we go to Dr. Abdi Mahamoud, Director Health Emergencies Alert and Response.
Thanks so much. Echoing again the appreciation of the excellent support from Spain leadership, the technical team, and all the actors included. In terms of our understanding, we do hear the concerns coming from the regional government, and as DG indicated, we are doing everything possible to understand the risk. As of now, well, we know the two confirmed cases and suspected have been evacuated. The ship is doing everything possible to take the public health measures. So the overall risk that from our side is minimal, but we know that people have a long incubation period. So we have a clear guidance working with our ECDC colleagues on the ship and the authority in Spain understanding the risk reduction measures. So we have clear disembarkation plan that will not add additional risk. So we are taking all the measures required to reduce. As overall our assessment, and we'll get more details from the team on the ship, it's a low risk. So we are coordinating with our ECDC colleagues, with the UK, with the Netherlands, with all the countries who have passengers on the floor to understand a common way. One is to reduce a further spread of the disease, which we see is limited, and then have a common understanding, a common approach based on public health and evidence, solidarity, and equity. I think we are in touch with them and will resolve the logistic issues and the guidance required to implement this and reduce and take any considerations and feedback from the community, the regional government. Once again, we thank the federal government for the excellent support.
Thank you very much, Abdi. For the second part, we go to Maria van Kerkhoff.
Okay.
Oh, pardon me. Oh, first.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what Abdi said. Based on the international health regulations guidance, we have made a request to Spain, and I have actually sent a letter personally to His Excellency the Prime Minister. And based on that request, because this is part of the IHR regulation, the Prime Minister have accepted. But one thing I'd like to address here is, on top of the the guidelines in the HR regulation, solidarity is the most important here, and that's what the Prime Minister has shown. But on top of that, I think everybody has the moral duty to take care of the people who are on the ship. So I hope those who have concerns at the Canary Island will understand and support and cooperate with the federal government. Of course, we understand their concerns, but as I said in my statement, based on the risk assessment that we have, the risk to the people in the Canary Island is actually low. So the ship is now sailing to Canary Island, and I hope all the support will be provided. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tedros. Second part, we go to Maria van Kerkhoff, Acting Director, Epidemic and Pandemic Management.
Yes, thank you. So I believe the second question was related to a potential suspect case. So as the DG said in his remarks, we're getting reports of suspect cases or potential suspect cases. These are alerts, as we call them. Some of them have had reported links to the ship or passengers on the ship. all of those will be followed up with the relevant authorities in each country. The countries themselves, whether it's through the ministries or through the agencies in the countries, are actually assessing each person case by case, looking at what type of exposure did they have? Are they developing any symptoms? If anyone is developing symptoms, to be isolated immediately, testing to take place, and providing the appropriate support. This is actually how the case in Switzerland was identified. Following the notification from the ship's operators, which we're very grateful for, this individual presented to healthcare, wasn't feeling well, was immediately isolated, was tested. This is actually public health actions in the works. And I did just want to add on the global solidarity side of things, you know, in all of the efforts that we're doing right now, including the ship sailing to the Canary Islands and to support the Spanish authorities, we've pulled together all of the global experts related to hantaviruses, in particular the Andes virus, and that global solidarity also falls into place on the technical side of things as well, coming in together saying, what do we know, what have we learned from past outbreaks, what's going on in the current situation, and essentially how can we help? And that type of technical solidarity is really helpful. Some of the diagnostic kits and the reagents that we are sending are also going to Spain, so that will support in some of the further investigations that need to take place. So overall, we're very grateful for all of those who've come together from the technical side as well to support this event.
Thank you very much. Next question goes to Nina Larson from AFP. Nina, please go ahead.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
All well.
Great. So I was going to ask if you would you consider this outbreak to be an epidemic, and also what would you say about people wearing masks? Should people be wearing masks? Is it considered to be airborne? And also, how long should contacts remain in isolation to avoid further spread? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nina. And we go back to Dr. Van Kerkhoff.
Yeah, so thanks, Nina. So what we have is, you know, obviously the situation that's happening on the ship itself and the follow-up of the contacts of the passengers who disembarked in St. Helena. So far, as you've heard, we have 8 cases so far, 5 of whom have been confirmed, 3 who have sadly died. We have no further symptomatic patients who are on board, or passengers or crew on board, I should say, which is a good sign. But of course, there is a long incubation period of the Andes virus. We know on board they have taken some precautions to try to minimize the risk. What they have advised on board is disinfection of the rooms. They have confined people to their cabins and providing food and water. And they have asked, as a precautionary measure for anyone leaving their room, to wear a medical mask. We certainly advise people who are caring for those who are suspected of this Andes virus or hantaviruses to wear a higher level of personal protective equipment. That guidance has been given to the people on board, but also there are the 2 patients that are in hospital in the Netherlands, and there's a patient in ICU in South Africa. And I am very happy to say the patient in South Africa is doing better, and the 2 patients in the Netherlands we hear are stable. So that is actually very good news. So we have a situation that we are monitoring very, very carefully. These numbers may change. As we're doing follow-up, we may see some additional cases be reported, and that shows that the active follow-up is happening and that the testing is being done. What we know about transmission, and there's been a lot of questions posed to us about, you know, what is actually happening. What we do know is that the Andes virus, in previous outbreaks, there has been instances of human-to-human transmission, mainly among close contacts, either providing clinical care or people who have had close physical contact. And we believe that's happening and has happened in the case here on the ship as well, between the couple, the first and second cases, and also a medical doctor providing care. As you probably know, those who develop symptoms, those who go on to develop disease, sometimes develop very severe disease, which includes severe respiratory disease. So there may be some coughing, there may be some aerosolizing procedures that may be done. And of course, that's where we would require higher level care. So this is not COVID, this is not influenza, it spreads very, very differently. So there are different precautions that people are taking. So we are supporting the ship's operators in the mitigation measures that they are putting on board. And as we've said, we are working to have a proper and full disembarkment procedure step by step to support authorities in the Canary Islands for the next stage of the people who are on board.
And Dr. Mahmoud, please.
No, there was the second part of the question about whether this is an epidemic or pandemic and all the things going on social media. I just wanted to address the situation. What makes unique here is similarity crowded in a confined space. We had a similar situation in Argentina in 2018 to 2019 when a symptomatic individual attended a social gathering. So that led to a lot of people getting infected. So we are in a similar situation right now, a cluster in a confined space with close contact. Does that mean the rest of the world, this disease will spread? We had that outbreak in 2018 and it led only 34 cases. We may have similar cases from there. So I just want to show that if we follow public health measures and the lessons we learned from Argentina now is shared across all countries, what needs to happen in contact tracing, isolation, we can break this chain of transmission, and this doesn't need to be a large epidemic. It's in a specific confined setting where people are interacting in a prolonged close contact. So we feel it's quite familiar to the 2000 outbreak in Argentina, and we don't anticipate a large epidemic. With the experience our member states have and the actions they have taken, we believe that this will not lead to subsequent chain of transmission. But we need to be balanced, reasonable, supportive solidarity in containing this outbreak in a difficult environment that's happening there. Been in the weeks after weeks there, it's difficult. So the solidarity required and the support, most of the people there, as DG said, are healthy individuals who are going with their lives. So is the public health measures able to break down the chain of transmission? And we believe this will be a limited outbreak if the public health measures are implemented and solidarity is shown across all countries.
Thank you very much, both. Next question goes to Christiane Ulrich from DPA. Christiane, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much, Christian. My question goes in the same direction, but a little bit further. We are 6 years out from Corona pandemic. This also started with very few cases, and you experts know how this is different, but we and our readers might not. I was wondering whether one of you can outline specifically how this is not comparable to the early days or weeks of the Corona pandemic, and why the risks are lower than they were 6 years ago with Corona. Thank you.
Yeah, good comparison. Let's see if it is one. Dr. Van Kerkhove, please.
I'm going to start, and then I'm going to ask our expert here, Anais, to come in, because this is not coronavirus. This is a very different virus. We know this virus. Hantaviruses have been around for quite a while. There's a lot of detail that we know. I'm going to ask Anais to come in and say this, but I want to be unequivocal here. This is not SARS-CoV-2. This is not the start of a COVID pandemic. This is an outbreak that we see on a ship. There's a confined area. We have 5 confirmed cases so far. We completely understand why these questions are coming, and we are trying to provide all of the information that we can. That's why we're having a press conference here to give accurate information, and we're grateful for all of those who out there who are asking these types of questions. But this is not the same situation we were in 6 years ago. It doesn't spread the same way like coronaviruses do. It's very different. It's that close, intimate contact that we've seen. And most hantaviruses don't transmit between people at all. Most hantaviruses are transmitted from rodents or their feces or their saliva and their droppings to people. And only this one.
So again, the World Health Organization really talking about this hantavirus. Again, it kind of started on a cruise ship, and now they're trying to figure out, could it spread? Could people be at risk? Right now, the answers are no. A big event, Tunnel to Towers Foundation. It's happening in Schwenksville, Pennsylvania. You probably know about this from 9/11. We're going to speak with someone who's there with a really cool project. It's just one of the things you're about to see live. Jim Jackson in the next half hour or two. Welcome back in, everybody. I'm Jen Frederick. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation is an amazing organization. You've probably heard of their connection to 9/11 and everything that happened in the aftermath. Well, now they're on a Steel Across America tour, and it takes them to Shanksville, Pennsylvania. That's where Brad Blakerman is, former deputy advisor to President George W. Bush. Hey, Brad.
Hey, thanks for having us.
100%. All right, so you're taking a steel beam that was recovered from the rubble of the World Trade Center across the United States?
Correct. We're taking this 21-foot piece of steel. You can see it over my right shoulder. It's 60,000 pounds. It was taken as a relic of that terrible tragedy that happened 25 years ago at the World Trade Center, North and South Tower. And it's an educational experience, a memorial experience for Americans, taking it to 34 stops, 21 states, and we couldn't think of a better place to bring it than to honor the heroes of Flight 93 right here in Shanksville.
I am aware of why it is important for people to see and touch history. Why do you guys think it's important to have people see this, to touch it, to be in the same, space with it?
Well, it's been said, if you don't learn from history, you're condemned to repeat it. We never want this repeated on our soil again. It's important for those never born 25 years ago to understand what happened that day to our country, to stay ever vigilant today, as there are people who seek to do us harm even today. And the only way we learn that lesson is to remember those who gave the ultimate price in their lives, who have been injured. And we honor them today and educate the young people. Remember those of us who are alive, the heroism of that day in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, at the Pentagon and at the World Trade Center.
I was there. I remember all of it. And I remember, especially in New York City, the calm. You couldn't really hear taxis. There was no beeping of horns. And then I remember when the president went and he got on that platform, and those New Yorkers were just so happy to see him, because it was really a sense of relief after just a horrible couple of days. I'm sure, as the former deputy advisor to President George W. Bush, you were there. I'm curious, did you ever think that you were going to be part of that big of a day, and now something so special as what you're doing now?
It's been an unbelievable journey for me. I served the president as a member of his senior staff 25 years ago. I was the gatekeeper to get to him. You got to me. I handled all his time. And as we were evacuated from the West Wing, because we were told the passengers of Flight 93 were taking over a plane that was bound for the White House, we were evacuated. And we continued to work at an off-site location. And I came to learn that my sister's oldest boy, a first responder in New York, was actually killed saving people in the South Tower. So 9/11 has a very personal story to me, not only in my service to the president, but the loss of my nephew, Tommy.
I'm so sorry to hear about Tommy. I think that people don't realize what the people did on Flight 93. We remember hearing, I believe it was "Let's roll," right? That was the big call that the civilians on that plane wanted to protect so many of us. It sounds like you included.
It was an unbelievable time, not knowing what was coming next, but then to learn the story of those 40 heroes on Flight 93. They were 20 minutes in the air, just taking off, and they made a split-second decision that they were going to sacrifice their own lives for others. Todd Beamer said, "Let's roll." The airplane crew got together with the passengers and said, "We're not going to let this happen." Think of the countless lives they've saved. So these are ordinary people who did extraordinary things, and this is what our country is made of. These are everyday people who rise to the occasion. We united a nation. We're as united today, despite all the rhetoric you hear today. We're a very united nation, and it doesn't necessarily take a tragedy to unite us.
Where does the steel beam go from Shanksville?
It's going to go down to Atlanta, to Home Depot, who's one of our sponsors. We're going to go to their world headquarters. And a very special event after that is we're going to the Emma Booker School in Sarasota, Florida, where Bush was on that day 25 years ago. We're going to bring back the kids who were there, and we're going to bring back their kids, and we're going to have the principal and the teacher and Secretary Card, who was President Bush's chief of staff, who whispered in his ear America's under attack, he'll be there. A very special stop.
They've done it once before, right, at that school, but they haven't been too many times, right?
Yes, this is going to be one of the largest remembrance ceremonies. And of course, having the steel there is going to be just a special event, not only for the people of Sarasota, but for the entire people of our country. We're going to go to Mount Rushmore. We're going to be going to the Heroes Museum for our Medal of Honor winners and recipients. So every stop has a story of 9/11, and that's why we decided to do this tour, is we need to bring this to the people of America so they can experience it. And like many relics, you're not allowed to touch it. We encourage people to put their hands on the steel and say a prayer for those who were lost that day.
I love it. I love it. I've got a high school kid. They're studying it in their American history class. And I certainly have shared with her some of my feelings, memories, and observations. Thank you for your service to this country. I'm sure it was a very scary time, those days and weeks. And I'm happy that this tour has someone like you on it to share all your reflections.
Thank you so much for covering this.
Okay. Good luck, Brad. That'll be great. All right, we're going to go from Shanksville to Philadelphia. Mayor Parker is at the A.J.C. Murray Friedman Memorial Lecture.
David, we've talked about this a great deal. The history of Dr. King, when he would come from down south and he would come here to Philadelphia, aside from the late great Reverend Gray and the great family at Bright Hope Baptist Church, all black churches didn't welcome Dr. King to Philadelphia. He was actually branded as being a bit of a rabble-rouser. But he had some people who were willing to stand with him during difficult times. And I thank God that I have been able to share with people that we should never forget Rabbi Heschel's role in supporting civil rights and standing when it was not popular. Give his legacy a round of applause. Very, very important. So it is truly an honor for me to be here today for the 2026 A.J.C. Murray Friedman Memorial Lecture. To stand before such a distinguished group of leaders and scholars and advocates and judges. I'm biased. I've got a connection here. My finance director for the city of Philadelphia. Nothing gets taken care of without my budget. Give the judge a round of applause. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Judge. And partners in advancing democracy and human dignity. I want you to know that it is humbling and it is deeply meaningful to me. And to do so at a moment like this, as we celebrate 250 years as a nation, it makes this gathering more significant. Now, Jessica knows that there have been reporters from across the country and the world who have called to say, Mayor, will you give us your take on what you feel about this moment and being mayor during the 250th birthday or anniversary of America. And the best way I think I could communicate what I'm feeling is that for those of you...
So again, that is Mayor Parker, and she's speaking at a memorial lecture right there at the American Jewish Committee, which is right there at the Murray Friedman Memorial site. So we're going to keep dipping in and out of that. Today is also a big day for your Philadelphia Flyers. In just 2 minutes, the guy who is going to be in that building tonight, the voice of the Flyers, Jim Jackson, is going to be with us. I call it the Xbox. I'm going to see what he has to say about that nickname. All right, game 3 for your Philadelphia Flyers right there at Xfinity Mobile Arena, the building that I like to call the Xbox. All right, it is a nickname that I think I like. I would like to know from the people who work in that building what they think of it. Jim Jackson is with us. I like to call him the voice of the Flyers. Ladies and gentlemen, just a second, Jim. Keith, behave yourself. We have company. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, first of all, we've heard that Owen is out again tonight. We know that Noah Cates out for the series. When we heard that Joel Embiid was going to be out yesterday, everyone kind of went, ugh. I feel like people got this news half expecting it, but we're still thinking these guys can be on fire, be young, be energetic, and maybe have a chance to win tonight. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, count this team out at your own risk. Obviously, they've used the 3.8% slogan, which was a chance to make the playoffs back in mid-March, and they've put it on T-shirts and everything. So don't ever count them out. I mean, clearly the loss of Tippett and the loss of Cates and I guess Christian Dvorak playing banged up, that's going to hurt your team, but I would not count them out. They're going to have this raucous crowd inside, as you call it, the Xbox. I have to say Xfinity Mobile Arena. We'll be obviously supporting them and give them a real good push. And it's an opportunity, Jen, for others to step up. Denver Barkey's going to play center. You look for Porter Martone to maybe make his mark again. Guys like that, Alex Bump, some of the young players in the team, Matvei Michkov, they have to step up now with some of the veterans hurt.
And so how do they get that done? How does Coach Tocchet really infuse these guys with the confidence they had during the first 3 games of the series against the Penguins? Is it a coach thing? Is it a veterans in the locker room? Like, how do these guys get going in a big way tonight?
I don't think that the coach will have too much to do with it at this point. An old coach, Bill Walsh, football coach, used to say that your team, about 3/4 of the way through the season, no matter the sport, pretty much is coaching itself by that point. You can do some little tweaks and things like that as a coach, but for the most part, in terms of getting a team ready, it's really up to the leadership group of the team. And to be honest with you, in game 2, they played a heck of a hockey game. They ended up outplaying Carolina badly in the overtime, should have won that game, had some opportunities, couldn't capitalize. And then kind of a goal for Carolina that you're going to get in overtime where you're just scrambling for a puck in front and it goes in. So they feel a lot better about themselves after game 2 than they did after game 1. So I wouldn't go all the way back to the first 3 games of the Pittsburgh series to find the last time they played well. They actually played well in game 2 of this series, and they bounced back all year long. So you would expect them and hope them to here again tonight. Again, having said that, they do have to have some players who step up in roles that maybe they haven't had so far. But that's really what it takes come playoff time.
And I think TK obviously missing the shot that he missed, and he immediately was like, that's on me. I expect him to come out hot, fast, and ready to just sling it into the net.
Well, he would take it on himself, but personally, I mean, people don't always score on breakaways. It was a save. It was a shot on goal. A lot of people thought he missed it wide, but the league audits these things. They check them out, and Freddie Anderson got a save on that shot. So it wasn't like he just fired it a mile wide. He just, the goalie made the save. This happens. And I expect TK as a veteran to own it, but I do not lay the blame of game 2 and the fact that they lost on Travis Konecny. Matvei Michkov also had some great chances in overtime. Jamie Drysdale, everybody, there are a lot of players who had chances. They couldn't quite get it done, but they were right there. And Jen, they've played this team 6 times now, 4 times in the regular season, twice in this series. 5 of the games have gone to overtime. So the difference between the teams is not that great. Flyers get a bounce here or there, they could easily be in a 1-1 series right now.
Hey, that's what I want to hear from you. Yes. So just because personally I'm going to the game on Friday, so I'd like them to win today because then it would feel better when I go there on Friday or Saturday.
I hope you're going Saturday. Yeah,
Saturday,
hope you're going Saturday. Yeah.
So
Friday you'll see the Sixers. So.
I'm here for this. I'm on the Flyers bandwagon once again. You've been in that building. You've been in Philadelphia. You know the fan base. I need to hear what you authentically feel about the score tonight. Who takes the game tonight, Jim Jackson?
I think that the Flyers, especially if they get off to a good start, They got off to a good start in game 2. Didn't necessarily mean they were going to win the game, but I do think if they fall behind, it really puts them in a spot where it's going to be difficult. So get that first goal, get this huge crowd. I mean, if you see the crowds in the Pittsburgh series late in the regular season, just tremendous. The Orange Crush is back. It's just great to see it. It's great to experience it. And you get that behind you with an early goal or some early hits, some early good play. And that can take them. So I say they win a close one. I think most of the games in this series will be close. And the thing is, you look at it now, it's daunting, right? Can they take 4 of the next 5 against Carolina? It seems like a daunting task. But if they win tonight, it's 2-1. And basically both teams have held serve at home. And the Flyers are a home win away from evening the series. So they're not as far back as it looks right now. However, if they lose tonight, they are in dire straits. So it's a huge game. Hopefully they get that good early start, ride the wave of the crowd, the momentum onto a win in the series, and they're right back in it.
All right, as we wrap up, is there any truth to the rumor that Gritty tried to get a Jim Jackson tattoo and the team said no?
I don't think there's any truth to that at all. Gritty probably saves his tattoos for the players, and that's the way it should be.
I love it. All right. Listen, I know you're a busy guy. We really appreciate you taking the time. Keith was well behaved. Keith, thank you very much.
Keith, very good. I mean, before we went on, you threw a pen and hit somebody in the back of the head, so hopefully he's okay,
Steve Bradley.
too.
His name's Steve Bradley. And you know what? I just wanted to get in the hockey mood, and that's how I warm up. You do your thing with your vocal exercises. I throw pens at people.
We might need you down there for the first shift, go and throw a hit or something.
And I just dodged something right there. So, yes, I'm available. And another one. You got nothing.
There you
I hope
go.
he plays for the Hurricanes.
Good luck making it through the rest of the day here, yeah.
Thank you. I got to go. Thank you. All right, quick break. We'll be right back. Keith, stay behaving. You have 1 more hour, babe. We're on till 2 today. Welcome back in, everybody. Mayor Parker is still speaking over at the AJC Murray Friedman Memorial. So we're going to listen in and hear what she has to say.
So ornate and all of these big, distinguished, powerful people were in the room, and little 17-year-old me, who's a product of humble beginnings, raised by my grandparents. My grandmother was a domestic worker who migrated from the South. My grandfather's a Navy veteran who's physically disabled and had a speech impediment, and little old me is in front of council giving this speech. I was nervous, and Augusta Clark came over to me. How many of you in here remember Augusta Clark? Anybody? Gussie Clark came over to me, and she would grab Tasco, and what they called me, you know, when, you know, not publicly, but the way they would talk to me, they would say, little girl, come here. Little girl, I know something that you can do better than anybody else in the world. Insecure, 17. I really haven't started my own personal journey to self-discovery. I don't know who in the world, you know, I am. But these people told me that they knew something that I could do better than anyone else in the world. And guess what it was? To be me. Because no one could be me better than I could be me. Why did I share that with you? And all that you do, you carry your ancestors with you. I don't care if it's 3 people I'm speaking to, 100, 5,000, or 25,000. I share Oprah Winfrey's empowering message with the guidance that she said Maya Angelou gave to her. She says, well, I never walk on the stage alone. Oh, I bring hundreds of thousands of people with me. She said, I bring any and everyone who's ever been kind to me. She said, I bring my ancestors with me. And so if you ever think about a table or a room or a place in a space where you've been by yourself or you're in the minority, you should never feel that you are alone. Carry your history, the strength of your mothers, the strength of your fathers, the strength of your stories. No matter how, people right now, we live in some very polarizing times, but I will commit to you that if we stay committed to doing what we've done, think about that story of those Jewish refugee scholars and their meeting HBCU leaders and saying, here, our skill set, our intellectual prowess, it's needed. How about we come together and make our shared principles, let's make it work for both of us. As mayor of the city of Philadelphia, I want you to know I am unapologetic about affirming that Philadelphia is and will continue to be a big tent under my leadership. Discrimination, racism of any kind is not something that I will tolerate, but everyone, no matter who you are or where you're from, you have a right to be your own genuine, authentic selves, and you should be able to do it without fear of persecution from anyone. Do you all agree? By the power invested in me via the Home Rule Charter in the city of Philadelphia, I hereby request that each of you put one finger in the air. Each of you. No matter how difficult it is, I want you to know I'm never going to stop trying to unify our city. I want you all to repeat after me and say, one Philly, a united city, one America, a united nation. You didn't do your ancestors any justice. Like Philadelphians, put one finger in the air. This is for the grand. Let me hear you. Let me hear you all say, one Philly, a united city, one America, a united nation. Now that's how the AGC is supposed to sound. Thank you all.
All right, so there you see it. The mayor is wrapping up her comments there. Just interesting observations. Tomorrow's going to be a big day here in the city of Philadelphia. We'll talk about that tomorrow. At the same time, one of the things that we do here is we look at what you guys are looking at. What are you Googling? What are you researching? One of the articles that keeps coming up over and over again is all about how Chinese car makers are selling affordable tech-loaded cars, not in China, but in Mexico near the U.S. border. $17,000 a car. Sometimes they go up to $22,000 a car. None of them are regulated in the United States, and they certainly don't look like what we see here in the U.S. So one of the guys we wanted to talk to about this is David Kelleher. He's the president of David Auto. Good afternoon to you, bud.
Hello, Jen. How are you?
I'm great.
Really excited to be on your show for the first time.
Well, thanks for joining us. So we were talking a little bit. I called you because I know you don't know only what's happening here. You're a worldwide, certainly a nationwide leader in terms of what is happening, not next month, but next year and beyond. So first of all, have you seen these cars? Have you seen these $17,000 Chinese tech-loaded cars?
No, I haven't seen them, but there's a lot of buzz about them. And you know, in the industry, there's a lot of buzz. People are talking about it constantly.
Basically, it looks like a race car or speed car. They're tiny, right? And they're saying that there's people in Mexico or United States citizens that are willing to go to Mexico. Some of them have dual citizenship, and they're driving these cars back into the United States. First of all, the cars are unregulated. So what would be the issue there? Like if they break down, there's got to be an issue, right?
Well, you can't register the car.
Okay.
So, you know, that's the problem. I mean, you know, in the United States, you have to be registered. You have to pass all the restrictions to, you know, we lost a car, the Renegade, one of our cheaper cars, because it cost too much to homogenize it to the United States. So, you know, that made it a counterproductive vehicle for us. But I think everybody and all the manufacturers are starting to understand that affordability is an issue. I mean, last year, the average car payment in the United States was $783. I mean, fathom that. I mean, wasn't it just 5-6 years ago that we were in the 400 range?
Definitely. So as a car dealer, I know you have a lot of brands underneath your dealership. What are you doing? Like, I'm assuming you're planning for this. You're trying to make the cars less than, I'm pretty sure my rent when I started in television wasn't $700 a month, let alone a car payment. So what are you guys doing as an industry to try and make it better for the American car buyer?
Well, for our point, from our point of view, our manufacturer is building 3 beautiful cars that start at $24,000, and if you smoke them out, you can't get over $29,000. So that's, you know, one way to address the situation. And I think you have to understand that this situation has come about because interest rates are higher, and the cost of building these cars is higher. We now have tariffs, which, you know, I've been a proponent to remove the tariffs for a long time. It doesn't make any sense because you can say you're going to tax another country, but it doesn't happen. I mean, at the end of the day, that tariff price is going to go onto a car, and it's going to influence the price of the car. So we have, you know, and of course, the inflation and the cost of the parts now to assemble these cars are going up. So it's been a real crisis, and you know, we're selling cars. I mean, you know, the national czar last month was 15,900,000 is the pace in a really happening market. We're at 17 million. You know, in the recession we dropped to 12 million. So 15.9 isn't horrible. So people are still buying the cars and paying the price.
All right. So you don't see any Chinese cars coming our way anytime soon?
Now, you know, the other thing that you need to keep in mind is, you know, Americans are different. You know, if you go to Europe, you're not going to see a Suburban on the road. You're not going to see an Escalade on the road. You're not going to see my Grand Wagoneer on the road. You know, Americans are different. They want what they want. So, you know, we have you know, underneath my umbrella, we have the Fiat 500. That doesn't sell. I mean, it doesn't sell because it's a really small, compact car. And people, you know, I mean, there's a small group of people that will accept it, but Americans are different, and they want what they want.
David Kelleher, when we kept seeing this article come up and up again, I'm like, we need a guy that knows cars. So I figured I'd give you a call. We appreciate you breaking away from your busy day to join us.
Yeah, how did I do?
I think you did great.
Okay?
Keith, hold on,
All
I'll
right.
ask Keith. Keith, how do you do? Oh, he gives you a thumbs up. That's nice. He's very
Thumbs
critical.
up. Okay. All right, great.
Thank
All right,
you.
guys. I'll see you later.
Okay, have a good one. All right, so we are going to step away for a quick 2-minute break. The one thing that we're talking about as well, an Apple class action lawsuit. If you have an iPhone, are you getting any money? We're going to talk to our tech expert right after this. Welcome back in, everybody. I'm Jen Frederick. This is Philadelphia Live. Some of the things that we're looking at, first of all, we're on Podium Watch. This is a position right outside of the White House. That's a live camera. At this moment, we believe the president, President Trump, is meeting with the president of Brazil, President Lula da Silva. And what we're expecting is after the two of them finish their bilateral meeting, either they or one of their representatives will be here at that makeshift podium that is right outside of the White House. Interestingly, sometimes we hear from Caroline Leavitt there. She is the president's chief spokesperson, and we've just learned that she has welcomed her second baby. It's a girl named Vivi. So we know we will not be seeing her, even though she is notorious for coming back from maternity leave very, very quickly. She left less than a week or maybe less than 2 weeks before having that baby. So congratulations to that family. The question remains, who will be in front of those two microphones? At this point, we don't know, but what we do know is right now there is a meeting between President Trump and the president of Brazil. At the same time, your money is not looking good. This is a live image from the New York Stock Exchange. The S&P 500 fell today after hitting a new all-time intraday high. Oil prices were coming back from sizable losses earlier in the session, but really it was just a broad market index, so many different things that they're looking at that means that the numbers are low. The tech heavy part of the index just having, not a good day as well. Oil prices did bounce back a lot, and a lot of people thought that would help. But again, right now and for quite some time, the money is just not doing well if you have it invested on Wall Street. At the same time, we've been talking about this hantavirus. Remember, there was a cruise ship. We now know 8 people have tested positive for this. It is apparently not passed human to human, more rodent to human, but the WHO, the World Health Organization, is taking questions about it. We're going to listen in.
Ask Anais to come in and say this, but I want to be unequivocal here. This is not SARS-CoV-2. This is not the start of a COVID pandemic. This is an outbreak that we see on a ship. There's a confined area. We have 5 confirmed cases so far. We completely understand why these questions are coming, and we are trying to provide all of the information that we can. That's why we're having a press conference here to give accurate information, and we're grateful for all of those out there who are asking these types of questions. But this is not the same situation we were in 6 years ago. It doesn't spread the same way like coronaviruses do. It's very different. It's that close, intimate contact that we've seen. And most hantaviruses don't transmit between people at all. Most hantaviruses are transmitted from rodents or their feces or their saliva or droppings to people. And only this one particular virus, the Andes virus, which has been identified here, we've seen some human-to-human transmission. And again, I want to reiterate, the actions that are being taken on board are precautionary to prevent any onward spread. And so there's a lot that is being done right now to be able to try to minimize the risk even further. But I do want Anais to come in and provide a little bit. No? Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have a question actually from Cabo Verde, but it came in writing, so I'm going to read it out. It is, hello and good afternoon. It is the Tudo Pouco, the news website in Cabo Verde. Thank you for that question. On May 2nd, a person died aboard the MV Hondius, as we know. The ship arrived afterwards in Cabo Verde. The question is, where was the body stored of the deceased, or where is it right now?
Yeah, thank you very much. So yes, in fact, you are correct. An older woman died on board. The ship's operators are making arrangements for the remains to be stored appropriately, carefully, and to make the onward movement of the remains in a dignified way. So the remains still are on board. We are in touch with the ship's operators about this and about any onward passage of the remains. So I think I'll just leave it at that. But yes, of course, and this is a reminder, these are people. These people have families and they have questions, but we're in contact with the operators about the safe storage and the onward movement of the remains.
Thank you very much. Next question goes to James Gallagher from the BBC. James, please go ahead and unmute. James, do you hear us? Yeah, here you go.
It took a while for the pop-up to unmute to arrive. Thank you. My main question is, could you outline what you think is unusual about this outbreak, or does it fit entirely within what we would expect of hantavirus outbreaks? And related on that, could you draw on whether you think there is anything fundamentally different or shifting within hantaviruses at the moment? I'm just looking at the PAHO reports from the end of last year, citing increases in cases and in some countries, lethality in South America. If you could draw on those as well, please.
Great, James. Thanks. And we go to Anaïs Legon, next to me, technical lead on viral hemorrhagic fevers.
Thanks a lot for the question. What is most unusual, obviously, is that we have a transmission in a boat, which I think that's the first documented to date with this particular virus. As mentioned by my colleagues before, a boat makes it a very specific environment for which we want to make sure that we have a good understanding on how the transmission has happened, and most importantly, to strengthen all the measures that my colleagues developed previously. There is no indication to date that there is something further unusual, but obviously the fact that it happened in a cruise ship with people from different nationalities and is something that we haven't seen before. Regarding your comment on the PAO report, the epidemiological situation related to hantaviruses in the Americas, you are right, a slight increase has been noted in few countries. Just to recall that this update covers all hantaviruses that are documented in the Americas, where most countries at risk have good surveillance system. And the increase can be related to several factors that needs to be determined, what countries are working on, probably linked to incidents on rodent population and different ecological and behavioral factors. This doesn't specifically relate to this virus we are talking about. And I want to recall that most hantavirus cannot transmit human to human, only the Andes one. So it's really linked to the rodent population. Over.
Thank you very much, Anaïs. Next question. No, before I come to the next question, we have a long list of questions still, and we want to really get to everybody. So please try to limit your questions to one. I'm pretty sure many people want to ask the same questions anyway. So next question goes to Laurent Sierra from Swiss News. Now we come to Switzerland. Laurent, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the briefing. A question on contact tracing and the extent of what has already been done, because it seems that the person who is in Zurich right now was in a flight where the contact tracing was not started right away. And so there is the threat that some people might not have been traced in the first days after the contact with that person. So do you know whether most countries affected have started but also probably ended the contact tracing process? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Laurent. This goes to Dr. Mahmoud.
Thanks. In terms of contact tracing and the policy for that, each country has slightly different. What we recommend from WHO is extensive investigation and information sharing. So this contact passenger was informed on two channels, one from the company informing the patient, and then second from the IHR South Africa sharing that information with Switzerland. So from the national level to the canton level, at least we will see how that information passes, because most of the information are shared at the capital level and then it goes to canton. What was done here, and that's we really need to appreciate the responsibility and the proactiveness of all the passengers contacted. They followed the public health message and taken the necessary action. Now the canton and the authorities are doing the investigation, and it takes a lot of time identifying all the contacts, where he went, and these are retrospective, what we call retrospective contact tracing, that meaning going backwards the day he arrived and all the way until the onset. So that data is being collected and analyzed. And then what we are encouraging now that we have a confined environment and hopefully we'll have a date of departure, prepare all the countries now. There's a lot of lessons we learned from all the countries shared from South Africa. The level of preparedness may have been slightly different. Now we're all prepared, and you'll have passengers and crews coming up. We are encouraging and we'll be sharing the investigation and the contact tracing format, and be proactive and the necessary recommendation. Each state and sovereign state will have a different application from our recommendation, but we firmly believe that safe, informed contact tracing and monitoring will reduce the further spread. So we are finalizing that in consultation with global experts from our European CDC, from US CDC.
So there you see, that's the World Health Organization. They're kind of responding to all of the questions revolving around the hantavirus. It was first, happening on a cruise ship, so many people were trying to figure out exactly what was going on. Is travel safe? And all indications are that this is a very, very small, isolated situation, and that travel for the summer of 2026 via cruise ship or other ways will be safe. The question is, your Apple phone. Are you owed any money because of a new Apple lawsuit? There's a $250 million settlement. We're going to talk to Anthony Mongaluzzo right after the break. All right, I have an iPhone. It's a very old iPhone, but I'm curious. There's a new $250 million Apple settlement. Who's talking? Oh, that's Keith's phone. And so one of the things we want to know is, are any of us eligible for any money? It's one of the things that you guys have been looking at online and talking about. So we bring in Anthony Mangaluzzo, who is at a golf event, and we're going to want the gossip on the golf event in just a moment or two. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, $250 million Apple has agreed to pay. Will any people that own an iPhone get any piece of that?
Yeah, so people are eligible up to $95, and that's going to be based on basically the amount of money you spend on your phone and what type of phone. So if you had one of the iPhone Pro 15s or the Pro Max on the 15 side, or any of the higher end iPhone 16s, you will be eligible. And again, based on which model, if you have a Pro Max, you're going to make more money than a Pro because you spent more money. And so it's going to be about 36 million people out there that are eligible.
What did they agree to pay this money for? What was the argument?
So interestingly enough, it brought me back to Good Day. We cover the iPhone launch every year. And that particular phone, what they really bragged about, how Apple AI was going to change your life and Siri was going to become a human-like personal assistant. She was going to help you so much with your mail and calendar and scheduling. And you'll have these lifelike interactions where your mail app can work with your calendar app and you just talk to it. And honestly, those features were never released. So people said, hey, I bought the phone because you promised me this. I know it wasn't going to come out on day one, but it's been a couple of years. Like, I need a new phone before I get these features.
That's interesting. So they're paying because the features never showed up.
Yes, and they heavily, heavily advertised them. One of the things, and I quote me, the first thing I said when I was at the news desk, I said, this is the first time I'm actually excited about Apple innovating, because Apple has not innovated in years. And it was a little bit of a false alarm, and I guess Apple and their team agrees by paying $250 million.
You owe me $250 million. No, I'm kidding. So how do people get their money back? How do you apply for this money?
So that is to be determined. The settlement was just released. There's going to be more communication, I'm sure, on all your social media sites, Apple. There is going to be a link that tells you exactly what to do and how to apply to get the money. But that's one of the things that has not been released publicly yet.
Okay, you're playing in a golf event at the golf club in New Jersey owned by Ron Jaworski, Jaws. He's playing today?
He's playing, and last year I know he brought, I didn't see who had fully this year, but he brought some Eagles, former Eagles, and they typically win. So Ron knows how to pick a team. Ron can still swing a club pretty good. And, we're just here with the Southern New Jersey Development Council for their annual event. So it's a fun time. And as looking now, finally, the sun's coming out. So that's nice.
Wait, who'd you bring? Who's your ringer? Who's going to win for you?
I got John Jones. He's actually sitting next to me on the side. He's hitting some bombs here. So not John Jones, the fighter, John Jones from PCS, but he's a teeny bit better than me out there on the course.
All right, well, get back out there. This is the hot dog at the turn. Get out, go,
Exactly.
Gotta go. Thank you for your help, Anthony.
Yep, take care.
Okay, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break. We are going to speak with Jeff Skversky coming up. We have some things that you're going to want to see in just a few minutes. All right, we're looking at all things Philadelphia today, one of them in the Nicetown section. Jeff Skversky is on a story that Good Day covered all morning long. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jen, we're on the scene of the partial house collapse in the Nicetown section of Philadelphia. This is the 1800 block of Bruner Street. As you can see behind me, there is extensive damage to the right side of this row home. This happened around 4:36 in the morning. Thankfully, nobody was injured. We're told the family inside escaped without injury. Right now, demolition crews are here. They're going to take down this entire row home. That's right. This has to be completely demolished. Pico Energy and the Philadelphia Fire Department has also been on the scene, as well as the Philadelphia Department of Licenses and Inspections, to assess the situation and damage. An official with L&I on the scene tells me about a year ago, they actually inspected this house, and at the time it had been deemed unsafe, and they believe that the homeowners tried to fix some of it without permits. Now, we're working to confirm that information, but that's what we're being told at this hour here on the scene. Now, the homeowners did return to the block shortly before noon, trying to get back inside their home to get their belongings, but they were denied access for safety reasons. The homeowners, as you can imagine, upset at the situation. They did not want to talk on camera. Fox 29 did speak to a few witnesses this morning. They were out here when it happened. They described the situation as completely crazy. Bricks were falling to the ground, even falling on cars and trucks out here. Thankfully, nobody was injured. The partial house collapse is under investigation. Now, we did reach out to the city, to multiple departments, to try to get more information on exactly what happened here, the exact situation, and we are waiting to hear from the city. They have not returned our emails and calls as of yet. We will have much more on this investigation and exactly what happened here later tonight on Fox 29.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, that's just a scary situation all around. We appreciate the help. All right, one of the things that we're waiting for is to hear from the President of the United States. We are on podium watch, as we have been for about an hour now. That is a live camera right there outside the White House. We know this. The President Trump, was speaking with the President of Brazil, President Lula da Silva. Not sure exactly what they are talking about, but we do expect either a representative of both countries or someone from the Trump administration to kind of brief us on what will be happening. Interestingly, when the FIFA World Cup comes to Philadelphia, one of the first games that will happen right here at the stadium that we now know as Lincoln Financial Field, one of those first games will be with Brazil. So yeah, when you look at the different teams that are coming, it's interesting. I don't know what it is that the two presidents are talking about, but I know that over there at Lincoln Financial Field, right there, the first game will be June 15th, a Friday. What do you think about that, Steve? Am I right? Good. I'm pretty good. Okay. So we get 6 games total. Most of them will be in June, and then the last game is July 4th. So June 14th. Is it a Friday? I think that's a Thursday. As you can see, we have, June 19th. That's right. So it's the second game. So Sunday, June 14th, Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast in America, in English, versus Ecuador. Group E, that'll happen at 7 o'clock at night. And then, like I said, Friday, June 19th, that's Brazil versus Haiti. Group C, 8:30. And you see right there, the venue says Philadelphia Stadium. Once FIFA actually takes proper ownership of that field, it will be called Philadelphia Stadium. You see right there, it still says Lincoln Financial Field. They had said that the signage has to come down or be covered or something like that. I had heard that at a press conference. Not really sure how they will make that happen. And then France versus Iraq. That's going to happen Monday, June 22nd, 5 p.m., so an earlier game. So you might need to dip out of work a little bit early. Thursday, June 25th, Curacao versus, again, the Ivory Coast. That'll be at 4 p.m. And then Saturday, round of 16th, Croatia versus Ghana, 5 p.m. And then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The sixth game will be right there, round of 16th. Who made this graphic? That should be included, I think.
We don't know who's playing.
We don't know who's playing. All right, that's fair. So it'll be July 4th at 5 p.m. That is the game that so many people want to see. It's definitely the highest ticket price here. It will be interesting to see who will be here. So the two big teams, I mean, everyone wants to see all of the teams. The Ivory Coast is the team that has selected and will be able to practice at the facility in Chester, where the Philadelphia Union now practice. I believe that's who's going to be there. Interestingly, Brazil and France, I think, are the two teams that a lot of people really want to see. Obviously, they have some superstars that play in the different leagues. So it'll be interesting if they let us go down to the park in Chester to see the Ivory Coast practicing. Not really sure how any of that works. I can tell you this. You will see all of those games right here on Fox 29. We will be a big part of the coverage. We have been looking forward to this for quite some time. It's such a big deal here in the building. There's a weekly soccer show. That soccer show happens right after this show. And you know what it is called? I'm going to let them tell you. FC Brotherly Love is what I like to call it. They like to call it Brotherly Love FC. They've made a graphic for it. The team is really invested in it. And again, you'll see that at 2 o'clock. All right, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break. We're going to be you have to go do Keith has to go set up the soccer show. It's a great show if you're into that, as we are. guys know we've been talking about the city of Philadelphia school, their plan for all of these schools, right? Basically, it is what they will do in terms of shutting down schools, how they're going to manage all these different buildings. We've been looking at this for about a year, almost a year and a half now. So there was a resolution. It was submitted today about what they want to do. So what's happening now is it's the aftermath of that. And Greg Payne is there, where all the different city council members are there. I see Greg. Can Greg see me? Can Greg hear me? Hello, Greg.
I can hear you, Jen. Yep, I can hear you, Jen. You got me?
I do. So bring us up to date. Explain again what happened today. There was the formal resolution about what they want to happen.
Yeah, so there was a resolution that was put forth. I mean, let me backtrack a little bit. You were kind of talking about it. You know, this all stems from the decision and the vote that was made when it came up to the master's facility plan, which ultimately resulted in about 17 schools that are going to be closed down, and then also the merger of a few, and then also there was going to be a large number of the schools that were going to be receiving renovations and all that type of stuff. Well, that was a very controversial vote. There were a lot of folks that believed that that vote was made very quickly by the school board and unfairly. And so essentially now there is a resolution that's been put forth. It's from Council Member Thomas, and I'm going to read it here because I want to make sure that I get this fully right. So he put forth a resolution authorizing Council Committee on Education to conduct a hearing into the governance model of the school board. Now, in the current form, the board is appointed by the mayor and confirmed by council. Now, the claim is that only 8 of the 9 board members were actually confirmed by council in April of 2024 because, of course, there was a new group that came in. So the group that was appointed, the board that was appointed, the members that are currently here, including like folks like Councilmember Thomas here in the Philadelphia Council, they were not in place. So these aren't essentially their claim is these are not folks that we put in to be in place. They were appointed by the mayor, but they weren't folks that we voted upon and agreed upon to have in place. So they feel as though this decision was made very quickly in regards to this master facilities plan with closing down these schools. So there's a back and forth about this. Now, one of the things that we did see that there was a Central Labor Council Philadelphia, that Central Labor Union, Philadelphia Council, AFL-CIO, they also released a statement, and it had to do with the rideshare tax. There was that tax that they were talking about, $1 onto the rideshares with Uber that would go to the school. Now, you may be asking, how did these connect? Well, one of the conversations is because of this vote that several of the council members believe was very fast with the school board, one of the things that they might be contemplating is maybe holding back on voting on the rideshare vote. And so that becomes a major topic of discussion. And so that union actually, that Central Labor Union, they actually sent out a press release mentioning the fact that they are in support of the dollar tax and saying that the Philadelphia City Council should move forward with that. And that's something that was brought to our attention by the mayor's office, that the union, the Central Labor Union, did present this. So there's a lot of back and forth with this. Now it's all about what are the next steps. And so there was a city council meeting today. There was a lot of back and forth. There's still a lot of back and forth that's going on. And at this point in time, we just heard from council president. He was addressing some of the things that were mentioned during the council meeting today. And then also now we're trying to chase down council member Thomas because he's the one that put forth this resolution. And we want to hear from him about his feelings on this whole situation.
All right. Thank you for bringing us up to date on that. Greg, there's one other thing I want to talk to you about. Do you know what it is?
Yes.
Game 3.
It is Flyers.
It is Flyers. We are flyered up. As a true blue, not on the bandwagon fan, you know that Owen is out, Noah is out. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about our chances tonight at what I like to call the Xbox, Xfinity Mobile Arena?
To be honest, I like our chances because of the fact that the thing is those positions that we're going to be down with Owen Tippett and also Noah Cates, I mean, both are incredible players, but we're already kind of stacked in those positions already. That was one of the big things everybody was talking about is that we need a 1C and a 1D. We need to find those type of players because we have so many wings. So I think that luckily, those positions, the two folks, Owen Tippett and Noah Cates, they're both not going to be playing, but there's others that can definitely step up in place, and we have some ample bodies that are ready to go. So I expect the Flyers to actually win. I think this is going to be a big game for them, because the last game, I mean, if you watched it, yeah, the first three periods, it was a little wonky. I mean, it was okay. You know, we scored early and then made sure that we kind of kept the lead for a long period of time until the third period, unfortunately. But that OT was literally the Flyers controlling that whole overtime. And unfortunately, then it was some, kind of lucky goal with the Carolina Hurricanes. So I feel confident, especially if they could keep it rolling after what we saw and what we experienced in that overtime. They looked really good in that overtime. And of course, Vladar's been looking great. So if we can continue to utilize his strong play in the net and, grab a win, I think they can do it, though.
All right. Thank you. Go Flyers. Yep. I feel good, too. Thanks so much. All right. We are going to go to the Tennessee Senate. It's live. We're going to listen in. We're just going to hear what they have to say and see if it's interesting and let you listen, too.
Us, all of us in here, to be that way. I want to reflect my moral, my religion. Now, this is just the concept to let you know how I think and why I'm voting no on this bill. You talk about religion, how you're going to honor God, but he said, love your brothers and sisters. Treat others as you want to be treated. We've got to live with that no matter how we spin this bill. Here, you're one of them too. You can't just get with them as a group and explain away, justify why you're voting for a bill that we call redistricting that's on the back of black people. Yes, it is. And there's a feeling of Jim Crow's popping his head back up after all these years. All that these people fought for, all that you've heard from my colleagues, they've lived that experience. 10 to 1, you all haven't, that are on the other side of the aisle. But it's real and it's there. You are getting ready to tear apart the fabric of Memphis. You're going to tear up our economy. You're going to tear up that health care, all those issues you voted for in health care. You're very aware of Memphis. You're very aware St. Jude has a high population of sickle cell anemia. You care about that because you voted to try to help it. Didn't affect you. Send some money down to Memphis. So you are aware of the black population. Some of you have lived there and gone to school there. Some of you come and ask me, now how's Memphis? What's it like? High population of black? Most of you didn't grow up in these small towns that understood. One of my best friends is in the house, and he said, don't try to tell me how to be a black man. You haven't walked in my shoes. Now, he meant that sincerely. I said, well, how can I show up? How can I be supportive? Do the right thing and don't be a hypocrite. Don't be a hypocrite. Don't act and get up here and talk about your feelings for the Lord. Don't be offensive to God and get up here and talk about that. Then you turn around and treat his brothers and sisters if they're less than. You're going to have to go home and you can justify what you're doing. Oh, I didn't realize we were dividing up a black population. Yeah, you did. Yes, you did. You come down there and enjoy our music, our cuisine, our way of living. Oh, you like it. As Lamar said, if you're in control. Go ahead and split up our economy. We're part of the state that you live in. Don't be bringing your kids down there to the zoo anymore because we won't have that available for you, because we won't have the money, because blacks are the biggest supporters. Don't come down there and talk about how you support the second greatest corporation in the world, FedEx, when you are dismantling the black community. No, none of you want to walk around in an era of Jim Crow. Think what you're doing. You are on a slippery slope of turning back the hands of time. I said, Sarah, you don't control them. What are you going to do about living with yourself? I said, I don't want to be a hypocrite, and I'm not going to do that. I greatly appreciate the civility. I come from a family, we like building government. Those were our Sunday talks. What's what you told your kids? What are you going to tell your kids? They're old enough. Oh, they're out of the house. You don't have to deal. Well, you got to deal with yourself when you lay your head down at night. You're treating your fellow brothers and sisters in Christ wrong. So if you're for Christ, don't be offensive to God. We don't need to be praying on the street corner. That's why I don't think we ought to talk about it in here. You're intruding on somebody else's religion you don't understand. Don't be offensive to God. Don't bear a false witness. He is offended when we say we love one another. Oh, except when it comes to being in human power. Then we're going to set our religion to the side and vote differently than you say that you're following God, and he's saying, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm hurt. This is hard. I thought it would be fun to build the communities. I can remember when Frank Clement appointed Ben Hooks first judge. I can remember Ben Hooks coming to dinner a few years before Annabelle died and had dinner with him. I can remember as a little girl in Virginia, my mother, the Southern Belle, the youngest of Frank Clement and Annabelle, oh, brother, she called Frank Clement brother, oh, brother has just appointed this most impressive man. I was taught to love your brothers and sisters. Not only was he impressive, his wife was too, little bitty firecracker. But Frank Clement reached across for talent that built this community you sit in today. He made laws that govern how you behave, how your children behave. You're going to be a hypocrite, Sarah, today on your vote? Just be civil. Let everybody vote. Are you going to go home tonight and think about the men and women, children you've hurt? Well, you got to live with it, Sarah, so, watch your vote. I want to show up for Memphis. I can't vote for something like this when we know exactly it's the black population. Not only did you divide our community of interest, you almost perfectly put 32% in each district. Don't tell me you don't know about Memphis and that we're predominantly black. Of course you do. I know about Knoxville, Kingsport. I know about the rural areas. We know about each other. The black population in Memphis is equal to you. Vote your conscience.
Thank you, Senator Kyle. Senator Oliver.
All right, so again, the Tennessee Senate floor meeting on redistricting. It's something that is happening in so many states, and ultimately it will impact all of us. That's one of the reasons why we dipped in. That was live. It was spicy. It was interesting to listen to. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break, and we're going to be right back. Welcome back in, everybody. One of the things that we've been listening to, because it is live right there in Tennessee, that is the Tennessee Senate. And they're really talking about redistricting. And although this is happening in Tennessee, redistricting is happening in so many states around the country and ultimately will impact all of us. So we're going to listen in just a little bit more to the state Senate talk about redistricting.
You've never had to struggle to be seen not as 3/5 of a human, but as a full person with self-agency in this country. I also want to acknowledge my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. I know most of you speak to me in the hallways. I've gotten to know some of you, and I know you go to church on Sundays. I know you love your families just like I do. And I know you believe you are good people. And that is precisely why what I am saying to you right now matters the most. Because good people, people who go to church, people who love their families, people who believe they're good, have throughout the history of this country done deeply, profoundly wrong things to Black Americans. And they told themselves it was about something else. They told them that it was about economics, heritage, party, patriotism. It was never about something else. And today it's not about something else. I want the record to be absolutely clear about what is happening today in this chamber. 1 week ago, the Supreme Court of the United States in Louisiana versus Calais fundamentally rewrote Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. The same day that decision was handed down, within hours, United States Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee urged this body, this legislature, to convene and redraw our congressional maps, giving orders like she's already the governor. Governor Lee, at the behest of Donald Trump, called us back into this special section just 2 weeks after we just adjourned to do something this body has never done in the history of this state. Without a court order, without a census reapportionment, without a single legitimate legal trigger. So let me say that again. There is no new census. There is no court order.
So again, we're going to continue to listen in to those hearings throughout the day. It's one of the things that we do each and every day right here on Philadelphia Live. We will see you tomorrow at noon. I leave you in the good hands of the team from Brotherly Love FC.